Hello, I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is How. Daily, I bring you a different tool, a tip, a trick to make your life much better. Today, I want to give you a bigger view of how to make your life excellent. I'm going to share a particular people engagement tool, performance enhancement tool called Excellent Enterprise. So let's jump onto Cube and let's see what we can find. So welcome to Cube, where, as you know, the sun is always shining. Look, blue sky through the little windows up there. So let's have a look at what we've got. One of the things which you'll probably be familiar with from my work is this whole idea that the world is changing faster than we can learn. It's a really simple idea, but it's very powerful because it changes how enterprises work. Now, I'm using the word enterprise on purpose because I'm not really interested in looking at monopolies or cartels or any of those other things. So the idea is really simple. The idea is that the world has accelerated quite happily in terms of the pace of change, its complexity, its uncertainty, and even the number of bodies on the planet. Okay, so those things have happened, technology, etc., etc. At the same time as the world has done that, we find that our ability to learn and change has stayed flat for most of us. And what that means is there's a crossover point, which here at Pentacle, we call it midnight, because the clock basically changed the game. We were all asleep and we've woken up in a different world without realizing it. Now, on this side of the world, we understood how to grow businesses. We took our time. We've had family businesses, multi-generational. We had farming. We ate food, which we just ate. We didn't process it, all sorts of things. When we hit this world, everything changes. For a start, because the pace of change is much higher than the ability to learn, you get a lot of uncertainty and complexity. So one trick, if you want your business to work well, is to get a bag of money and then to use that bag of money to just keep building things, flipping backwards and forwards until you can build something of such a scale that nobody will compete with you. And at that point, you can dominate the market. And if you can dominate the market and have no customers, ka-ching. The other alternative, of course, is to form a cartel or buy everyone else out. And you can get to dominance quite quickly that way. The other way of doing things is to get some money and make something which looks really attractive. I'll make it look like a little red apple, if I can. Yeah, a little red apple looks, isn't it just lovely? Yum, 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 yum. Okay, at which point you sell up to somebody else who's dominant. And basically, at that point, your organization dies, but you get enough money to live on a yacht, forever. The third option, of course, is the one which I'm most excited about. And you're probably living through, because organizations in the dominant phase, they're not interested in learning. Organizations in the die phase, they're not interested in developing their people. So you're probably where I am, which is in what we call the evolve phase. Evolve means that you keep adapting to your world. Now, if you're in an evolve phase, what you're trying to do, you're trying to make sure that your enterprise, your work, your activities, your organization actually operate really effectively as one. And so in terms of evolving, not dominating or dying, what I want to do is share with you my view on what you probably need to look at. This is one of my favorite diagrams. It's basically a map I put together. It's a simplified map. Up here, it says things like our shareholders love us, our revenues minus direct true costs are skyrocketing, operational expenses are falling, our inventory. By inventory, I use the gold rat definition, which is all the things which we bought, which we intend to sell. Our levels are rising, are falling. And then it sort of works through what's known as a bubble diagram. There's a PET, you can look it up, which basically says, oh, why is that happening? Well, sales volumes are rising. Why is that? Because our market share is rising, and so on. So I've tried to map out the things which give you this wonderful sort of outcome. But you see, it's a loop, because, for example, if your shareholders love you, then it's easier and cheaper to raise funds. Therefore, you can run more projects. If you can understand how to manage all change and you understand the rules of our new world, then you can quickly start to look at opportunities, create some ideas, put the strategies you've put into work, get the staff on board, get people to lead them, make sure the suppliers will supply you with their stuff first. You can sort of work your way through this. Take some time to look at it later. Excellent Enterprise, you can get it from the quick guide. What are the little red dots? The little red dots are all the books I've written to try and plug these gaps. So if I scale out a little bit so you can see, what basically I've done is I've said, okay, there are 5 things we can worry about in terms of this excellent enterprise. can invent the future. That's a whole thing, a lot of things around here. We can ensure results. That's a lot of things about the money making. We can deliver tomorrow. That's a lot about change. We can lead people, and we can deliver very well today. And so if you look at the books which I've written, they're basically arranged around that. There's New Rules for the New World, which is supposed to help you invent it. Understand the Future. Who Killed the Spark, which is supposed to help you invent it. This one here is Making Reengineering Happen, which is redoing your processes. Sound Bites about getting your people excited about life. Complete Leader is about you being able to make things happen. Never Reorganize Again is about making sure your organizational design is good. Perfect Projects is about making sure you can actually deliver, and the strategy. All Change is about making sure that whatever comes your way, you can make it just flow through in terms of the hard and soft stuff. And Money Making Machine, of course, is making sure that you're going to get the results. So that's what I've written. And then there's another third part where you can look at some of the pets, which you'll now be familiar with, which is around excellent execution. And if you've understood that bubble diagram, then you can have a realistic vision. You can choose capable people. You can have an actionable plan, disciplinedly do it, and provide support. And what I've captured down at the bottom here are all the typical pets you might find useful. So everything from money-making loops through to square peg through to rapids. Some of these you'll be familiar with, but this is a good checklist. It's like a good route map checklist for making sure that that happens. And I just finished off by explaining where you can find material to actually support whatever challenge you've got. What I usually do is I tell people, try and assign a score to each of these so that the score is a score of, let's jump back here, a score of, if it's no, put 0. If it's some way, put 1. If it's yes, put 3. And you're going to be excellent if you're over 100. Now, what does that mean? It means you take the Excellent Enterprise one, and for each of the bubbles, you put a score and you add them up, and you get to a total score, and it tells you whether or not you need to do something about it. So that's Excellent Enterprise. It's helping you figure out how to make your world evolve so that you can be at the tip-top, cutting-edge, best enjoyable, wonderful place to work, most creative and innovative you could possibly be. There is always a quick guide. There is always the newsletter you can return to for more. I've been Eddie Obeng. Wonderful day for you, and see you again soon.